back on the farm today, this time in Albuquerque, as we check out Jordan Beck, one of our top 10 prospects, one of our top 5 prospects coming into this season. And Beck has not got off to the hottest start. You see, batting .202, but he's in that race for that corner outfield job that we have. Is it going to be him, Fernandez, Veen? Who's going to get it? And that is what I have to ask. Who is going to take it? Could it be Beck? Who will it be? So we're down here in Albuquerque. Jordan Beck, a guy who is very well-rounded all around. Not the fastest guy, but not the slowest. Not the best in the field, but not the worst. Not the greatest at the plate, but not the least valuable hitter we'll have in our lineup at any time. Doesn't really prefer a hand in this, although he has struggled against lefties this year, even though that is a little bit odd, him being a right-handed hitter. We'll see him hose the runner out going to third base here. He's fired up. But again, this is like we talked about earlier in the season. These well-rounded guys they're a double-edged sword. Yeah, they could be great at everything, or they could really not really excel at anything and kind of be permeated to a bench or maybe a platoon role. One thing I've seen from him in this scouting, as I was down here for 3 days, I like to give them a proper sample size, let them know, hey, I'll be here, but also not ruffle their feathers too much. A lot of first pitch swinging this time gets a big piece of that fastball down the middle by former top Red Sox prospect Jay Groom. You know how excited I was when we signed Jay Groom, the projected number 1 pick. Didn't want to go on a shit ton of money and fell down to the Red Sox 12. Then he didn't do nothing. Yeah, that's that Jay Groom. So first day had a single. Other than that, nothing really too impressive beyond the assist over there to third base as well. How does he make the team? Well, he just has to outwork Fernandez and Veen. It's really that simple. I mean, while we probably have a little bit of an affinity towards the other two ahead of Beck, we're not going to dissuade or defer to any specific player at all. Veen still down here in AAA. Fernandez did get called up, but again, Veen or Beck really could be taking that job, as Fernandez hasn't really exactly proven himself to be the everyday corner outfielder just yet. We're going to have another play in the outfield, this time at the plate, and absolutely hosing this runner by a good 10 or so feet plus. Good arm from him. Again, favors power a little bit. One of the only guys to favor that power. Again, it's still pretty all around. Doesn't strike out a whole bunch. The definition of Plato. I mean, we can mold him to whoever we see fit, it seems, and hopefully it's something pretty good. Rocketed into right field, and this will not fall for a hit. Robbie Snelling, a guy that he's a pretty good major league prospect. He shows it there with a devastating curveball that Beck swings over the top of. Next at bat, still against Snelling. Again, has struggled against lefties so far this year, and something that probably he was projected to do really well against was lefties this year. Can't do anything there. Next pitch here that he sees, new pitcher, and he's glad of it. This one hops off the wall, and that is going to be a double for Beck. We're going to move on to Hartford now, as we're checking out Drew Romo. Now, Drew Romo has a lot less competition for the catching job. Actually, by the time you are watching this, Drew Romo has already made his debut with the big league teams, which is something that we had in the banks and we're going to release. But Drew Romo kind of fast-tracked himself up to the big leagues because he was having such a dominant season down here in Hartford with the Yard Goats that we decided that making the trade that we did and bringing in Drew Romo was perfect. Romo 0 for 1 to begin the time here, and have a sneaky suspicion this is the highlight I wanted to show. And I'm wrong. So we'll wait till I see it. Romo, what is his path to the big? I mean, he's already in the bigs. How does he stay there? If he could just be like a 700 to 720 OPS guy and give us the defense that he gives us, boom, there he is. He has a home here. At the minimum, as a backup catcher on this team for, I would like to think, a good amount of time. Now, how does he break those expectations and really cement himself as the starting backstop in Colorado for years? That offense. And right now, it favors lefties, doesn't really do too well against righties. We've seen him kind of struggle to get the ball in play hard enough against righties. But the defense is there already, and we've trusting him with our pitching staff at a very young age, just 22, I believe. The offense is what dictates how good of a player he is. Where is his floor? Where is his ceiling? That all comes with the stick. If he can find some power, or even just hit for average, he's figure something out. Again, lefties he's a lot better than against righties. He's kind of okay at everything else, striking out, drawing walks, things like that. He's kind of just okay at things like that. I mean, again, also kind of a Play-Doh mold, but kind of just a level below Jordan Beck, like we just talked about. So we can kind of mold him to however we feel, but it's a little bit more of a risk with him just because of how raw he still is at the plate. Second round pick a couple of years ago, and Drew Romo is looking for a nice extension possibly if he comes up and plays well. We'll see. We're trying to hammer out those extensions. That's very in vogue right now. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. Romo still yet to find a hit in this scouting, but I did like what I saw from him. For the most part, hitting the ball decently, had some pop-ups. The defense has been there, obviously, as you've seen him throw out a couple of runners. Hitting that ball right on the head, but just not a lot pop behind it. Top 8 as we're taking on the Bay Sox. And this one roped, and that's going to be a home run. This is the highlight I was alluding to earlier. 106 off the bat. Really a frozen rope. His 7th home run. And he was tearing up Double-A the entire time. We saw him in the Futures game, and he did fantastic. Drew Romo takes that pitch middle and in a little bit, middle, and just sends it on a line right over the right field fence. They'll win that game thanks in part to Drew Romo, is now batting from the more comfortable right side of the plate. Popped into the air, and 2 runners stranded for Romo. Into the outfield, this will find some grass. Coming around to third base and trying to score is the runner, and he will. An RBI single for Drew Romo. A little shrug. And that's basically going to wrap it up here. Nothing too crazy for either of our prospects today. Again, Drew Romo has been called up by now. Jordan Beck still plugging away there at Triple-A. So let us know which of these prospects has a better future. Which of these would you take if you had to pick one or the other? I appreciate you all watching, and we'll see you next time here on a Prospect Spotlight.